Have you ever heard the quote, success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm? That's from Winston Churchill, and it completely reframes how we view setbacks in life. In fact, it's one of those rare sentences that once you hear it, sticks with you for life. It's simple, it's raw, and it's powerful. But let's be honest, most of us grow up fearing failure. From school to career to relationships, we're taught to avoid it at all costs. We see it as something shameful, something to hide or fix quickly. Failure feels like a curse. You open a business, start a new project, or enter a relationship, and the moment things go wrong, that fear kicks in. What if I mess this up? But here's the truth. Fearing failure doesn't stop it from happening. If anything, it makes it worse. You can be the most cautious, careful person in the world and still fail. It's not about whether you'll fail, it's about how you respond when you do. Because of failure, it's guaranteed. Everyone stumbles, even the pros, the experts, the seasoned veterans, they mess up too. No one gets it right every time. The secret isn't avoiding failure, it's using it, learning from it. That's what Churchill meant. Don't just fail better. Think about it like this. Life isn't some clean, straight path. It's more like walking down a pitch black road you've never been on before. You're bound to trip over something. The first time you fall, you remember where it happened. The next night, you avoid that spot. But maybe you'll trip again later at a different spot. Still, it's progress. You're learning the road, one fall at a time. And soon, you know that road so well, you can walk it without stumbling. Each failure was a data point, a marker, a lesson. You failed your way into mastery. Let's take a real-world example, digital marketing. When companies run ads online, they often use a method called A/B testing. They put out two versions of an ad, let's say version A and version B. One of them usually performs better, the other, it fails. But marketers don't get upset about it. They learn. They figure out what didn't work, keep what did, and use it to improve the next ad. Each failed ad is like a stepping stone, and eventually you land on a winning formula. That's failing better. But here's something important. Not all failures are created equal. Some are recoverable, others not so much. That's why I'd add a little caveat to Churchill's quote, fail again. Fail better, but don't fail catastrophically. You want to fail in ways you can bounce back from. Fail small, fail smart. Imagine driving through potholes. Hitting one at 20 mph might shake you up a little, but flying into it at 80, that's a disaster. Same pothole, different speed, drastically different outcome. So go slow when you're learning. Leave room for error. Now, this mindset doesn't just apply to work. It's also incredibly powerful in relationships. We often expect love to be perfect. No fights, no misunderstandings. But that's not real. Every couple has disagreements. They come from different backgrounds, different families, and different experiences. It's natural to clash. What matters is how you handle it. There are usually three ways couples deal with conflict. 1, they argue loudly but never resolve anything. 2, they stay silent and let resentment build. 3, they talk, really talk and try to understand each other. Only the third way works. The first two are just slow paths to a breakup. But having those deep, difficult conversations, that's a sign of commitment, of growth, of love. You might not get it right the first time. You might say the wrong thing or not fully understand each other. That's okay. You try again. You listen better, you explain more clearly, that's failing better. And eventually, those conversations bring you closer, not farther apart. And let's talk about careers. When you first start working, things rarely go smoothly. You make mistakes, you miss deadlines, you get feedback that stings. But that's how you grow. Think about how long it took just to land your first job. 12 years of school, 4 years of college, that's 16 years. And yet, when it comes to other areas of life, like starting a business, building a relationship, or improving a skill we expect, overnight success. Why? Why are we so patient in one area, but so impatient in others? Churchill's quote reminds us that growth takes time and missteps and reflection. You fail, you analyze, you adjust, and then you fail again. But this time, a little better. It's the same for creatives. Designers, musicians, writers. We all go through endless rounds of feedback, of tweaks, of flops. That first draft, usually terrible, but you keep going, you improve, you get sharper. Failure becomes information, and information is power. But what if you're stuck? What if you keep failing in the same way? That's a sign to pause and reflect. It's not enough to be consistent. You need to evolve. Just doing the same thing over and over without improving isn't progress. That's stagnation. Let's say you're working on a YouTube channel. You've posted 50 videos, but views are low and you're not growing. What now? Time to dig in. Watch your own content, read the comments, study analytics, ask questions, get feedback, and then adjust. That's how you move from failure to failing better. And yes, it's tough. Sometimes you feel like giving up. But here's the thing. If you're learning, you're not truly failing. You're just collecting data. Even in love, misunderstandings and disagreements can feel like failures, but they're actually opportunities. Opportunities to understand each other better, to grow together. Remember, it's not about a dramatic comeback or some grand finale. What matters most is the direction you're heading, not the speed. And that's enough. So, whatever you're working on, business, love, self-growth, don't aim for perfection. Aim to fail better. Bit by bit, step by step. That's how real growth happens. Thanks for hanging out with me. If this helped you see failure a little differently, feel free to share it with someone who needs it.